Big news has now arrived on Gunners. You want to know all the details, so follow me until the end of the video. But first, if you are in love with Arsenal, show your love and subscribe to THE channel now and turn on notifications. Here we post daily news and behind the scenes of the biggest club in THE Premier League, Arsenal. Thank you.
Acquiesta uma verso reescrita Ingles, mais natural, involvente persuasiva, como estilo de artigo esportivo británico, mantendo a narrativa e evitando apresentar rumores como fatos confirmados. Arsenal transfer roundup, Bruno Guimarães update, Andrea Berta's targets, and the latest on the Gunners' summer plans. Arsenal's summer transfer strategy is beginning to gather momentum, with sporting director Andrea Berta and chief scout Maurizio Micheli working behind the scenes to reshape Mikel Arteta's squad ahead of the new season. Although the first month of the transfer window is drawing to a close, the Gunners have officially completed just one signing so far. The arrival of Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen has now been finalized, with Arsenal understood to have agreed a deal worth around £34.5 million plus performance-related add-ons for the highly rated Ecuador international. But there is little doubt that far more business is still to come. Behind closed doors, Arsenal continue to work on multiple deals simultaneously, and club officials expect negotiations to accelerate as July begins. While some supporters have grown frustrated by the club's relatively quiet start, particularly after Manchester City secured Elliot Anderson in a £116 million move and several Premier League rivals strengthened their squads, the delay is largely the result of circumstances beyond Arsenal's control. Sources indicate that the extended football calendar, including the UEFA Champions League final and the ongoing FIFA World Cup, has complicated negotiations across Europe. With many players and agents focused on international commitments, several transfer discussions have naturally progressed more slowly than expected. As players and executives gradually return from their summer commitments, activity at Arsenal's Saba Realty Training Center is expected to increase significantly. Bruno Guimarães remains a genuine target. One of the biggest stories surrounding Arsenal this week continues to be Bruno Guimarães. Football.London understands that the club's interest in signing the Newcastle United midfielder is genuine. Arsenal have admired the Brazilian for some time, viewing him as a player capable of immediately strengthening the heart of Mikel Arteta's midfield. However, as with every major target this summer, the financial aspect of any potential deal remains crucial. While intermediaries have reportedly held informal discussions surrounding the player, uncertainty remains regarding the exact contractual situation between Guimarães and Newcastle. Much of the speculation has centered on whether his contract contains a release clause, with conflicting reports emerging from different sources. According to sources close to Newcastle, suggestions that Guimarães could be available for around £60 million are believed to be inaccurate. Nevertheless, Football London understands that Newcastle's failure to qualify for last season's UEFA Champions League continues to be viewed as an important factor when assessing the midfielder's long-term future. That situation has encouraged Arsenal to continue monitoring developments, although no breakthrough is believed to be imminent. With Brazil still competing at the FIFA World Cup, Guimarães is understood to be fully focused on international duty and is unlikely to become actively involved in discussions regarding his club future until after the tournament concludes. Other key targets remain on Arsenal's radar. The World Cup has also slowed Arsenal's pursuit of several other attacking targets. Morgan Rogers and Bradley Barcola continue to be admired by the club, but negotiations involving both players have naturally taken a backseat while international football remains the priority. Meanwhile, Arsenal have formally entered the race to sign Leicester City winger Jeremy Monga. The Gunners reportedly submitted an opening offer worth £5 million, although Leicester quickly rejected the proposal. Discussions remain ongoing, with Arsenal believed to value the talented youngster between £10 million and £15 million. The opening bid is understood to have been part of the club's typical negotiating strategy, and both sides remain optimistic that a compromise can eventually be reached. Arsenal have also made a pre-contract proposal for highly rated Georgian prospect Andrea Bartashvili. However, competition for his signature is becoming increasingly intense, with several European clubs monitoring his progress while Iberia 1999 prepare for their UEFA Champions League qualifying campaign. Not every transfer battle appears likely to end in Arsenal's favor. The Gunners are expected to miss out on highly regarded defender Emmanuel Mbemba, who is reportedly closing in on a move to AS Monaco. Arsenal had identified the 18-year-old as an excellent long-term investment, but Monaco's sporting project and pathway to first-team football are believed to have convinced the youngster to choose the League One side instead. Outgoings could still shape Arsenal's summer. While much of the focus remains on potential arrivals, departures could become just as important over the coming weeks. Questions continue to surround the future of club captain Martin Odegaard, whose long-term situation remains uncertain. Although no immediate decision is expected, the Norwegian international is currently focused on representing his country at the World Cup, meaning any developments regarding his future are likely to be postponed until after the tournament. With multiple negotiations progressing simultaneously and several key targets still available, Arsenal's summer business appears to be entering its most important phase. The coming weeks could prove decisive as Berta looks to provide Mikel Arteta with the reinforcements needed to mount another serious challenge for both the Premier League title and the UEFA Champions League. Claro. Aqui esta uma continuação Ingles que mantém conexo com a história, adiciona contexto e repercussões de forma natural, sem apresenta rumores como fatos confirmados e sem propagandas ou emojis. With several negotiations progressing at different stages, Arsenal's recruitment team faces a crucial few weeks that could define the club's ambitions for the upcoming campaign. Berta has inherited a squad capable of competing for major honors, but there is a clear understanding inside the club that targeted additions will be required if Arsenal are to finally take the next step and convert consistent title challenges into trophies. Midfield remains one of the areas receiving the greatest attention. Even if a move for Bruno Guimarães ultimately proves too expensive, Arsenal are expected to continue exploring alternatives capable of offering the same balance of defensive stability, technical quality, and progressive passing. The club has reportedly identified several profiles across Europe that fit Arteta's tactical demands, ensuring they are not dependent on a single transfer target. The attacking department is also expected to receive further investment. While Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli remain integral to Arsenal's long-term plans, the coaching staff is eager to increase competition across the front line. Injuries and fixture congestion exposed the need for greater depth last season, particularly during decisive periods when the squad was competing on multiple fronts. Adding another versatile winger would not only provide more rotation options, but also reduce the workload on Arsenal's key attacking players throughout a demanding campaign. Defensively, the arrival of Piero Hincapié gives Arteta another high-quality option capable of playing both centrally and on the left side of defense. His versatility is viewed as one of the major reasons Arsenal prioritized the Ecuador international, allowing the manager greater tactical flexibility depending on the opponent and competition. Youth recruitment also continues to be an important part of the club's long-term strategy. Rather than focusing exclusively on established stars, Arsenal remain committed to identifying some of Europe's brightest young talents before their market value rises significantly. That philosophy has already delivered several successful signings in recent years, and Berta appears determined to continue building a squad that can compete immediately while remaining sustainable for the future. At the same time, potential departures could accelerate once international tournaments conclude. Several squad players continue to attract interest from clubs across Europe, and Arsenal know that outgoing transfers may be necessary to create both squad space and additional financial flexibility before the window closes. Supporters may be eager for immediate announcements, but the club's hierarchy appears determined to avoid rushing into deals simply to satisfy public expectations. Arsenal's recruitment staff believe patience can often create better opportunities later in the window, particularly as selling clubs become more willing to negotiate and player priorities become clearer after international commitments end. For Mikel Arteta, this summer represents another pivotal moment in the club's long-term project. Arsenal have established themselves as consistent challengers in both the Premier League and the Champions League, but the expectation inside the club is no longer simply to compete, it is to win. The coming weeks will reveal whether Arsenal can transform strong interest into completed signings. With multiple negotiations still active, several high-profile targets under consideration, and the transfer market expected to intensify throughout July, the Gunners remain one of the clubs to watch as one of the busiest periods of the summer window begins. Aqui esta uma verso reescrita Ingles, como tom mais natural, envolvente persuasivo, no estilo do amargo esportivo británico. Arsenal confirm pre-season plans as Cesc Fabregas set for emotional Emirates Stadium return. Arsenal have officially finalized their pre-season schedule, confirming an exciting friendly against Como 1907 that will see club legend Cesc Fabregas make an emotional return to the Emirates Stadium, this time as a head coach. The Gunners announced that they will face the Italian side on Wednesday, August 12th, with kickoff scheduled for 7:30 p.m. at the Emirates. The fixture completes Arsenal's summer preparations ahead of the new Premier League campaign and marks one of the most anticipated moments of the club's pre-season calendar. Football London had previously revealed Arsenal's plans to host both Borussia Dortmund and Como in London, and the announcement now officially confirms Fabregas' long-awaited return to North London. The former Arsenal captain enjoyed a remarkable playing career with the club before embarking on a promising managerial journey. Since taking charge of Como, the Spanish coach has earned widespread praise for transforming the Italian side into one of Europe's fastest-rising teams, guiding them to qualification for next season's UEFA Champions League. For Arsenal supporters, the match will be about far more than pre-season fitness. It will provide fans with the opportunity to welcome back one of the club's most gifted midfielders, whose vision, creativity, and leadership made him a fan favorite during his years in North London. Seeing Fabregas return to the Emirates from the visitors' dugout is expected to be one of the emotional highlights of the summer. The fixture also carries an interesting competitive angle. With Arsenal placed in Pot 1 for next season's UEFA Champions League, there is a possibility that both Borussia Dortmund and Como could become official opponents later in the campaign should the draw pair them together. That makes these friendlies valuable not only for fitness, but also as an early opportunity to assess potential European rivals. Mikel Arteta will use the summer schedule to gradually prepare his squad for the opening weekend of the Premier League season, which begins with a home fixture against Coventry City on Friday, August 21st. Before returning to North London, Arsenal will first travel abroad for 2 challenging away friendlies. The Gunners begin their preparations against Girona in Spain on August 1st before facing Real Betis in Dublin 4 days later. The club's final competitive rehearsal before the Premier League kicks off will come in the FA Community Shield on August 16th, where Arsenal are expected to face Manchester City, now managed by Enzo Maresca. It will be the second time in 3 years that the two clubs have met with the season's first piece of silverware on the line, adding another chapter to one of English football's biggest modern rivalries. This busy August schedule could also provide supporters with their first glimpse of several new signings. Arsenal remain active in the transfer market, and there is growing optimism that new arrivals will be integrated into the squad before the majority of these fixtures take place. Pre-season friendlies often serve as the ideal environment for new players to build chemistry with their teammates and begin adapting to Arteta's tactical system. Football London also understands that Arsenal are considering arranging an additional behind-closed-doors friendly before the official pre-season fixtures begin. The match would primarily involve players returning from their summer break who did not participate in the FIFA World Cup, allowing them to rebuild match fitness before the full squad reunites in mid-July. The Gunners have regularly scheduled similar private friendlies in previous summers, facing clubs such as Boreham Wood, Ipswich Town, Brentford, and Watford as part of their preparations. With an exciting pre-season schedule now in place, Arsenal can fully turn their attention to refining the squad, integrating new faces, and building momentum before another campaign in which expectations will once again be extremely high both domestically and in Europe. Certainly. Here's a natural continuation in English that maintains the flow of the story while adding context, analysis, and likely implications without presenting speculation as fact. Beyond the emotional significance of Fabregas' return, the pre-season schedule provides Arsenal with a valuable opportunity to test tactical adjustments before competitive football resumes. Every fixture has been carefully selected to expose the squad to different styles of play, allowing Mikel Arteta and his coaching staff to evaluate both experienced starters and emerging young talents under match conditions. The meeting with Como is expected to attract particular attention because of the progress Fabregas has made during the early stages of his managerial career. After earning widespread praise for his tactical approach and player development, the former Arsenal captain has quickly established himself as one of Europe's most promising young coaches. His return to North London will inevitably spark memories of his successful playing days, while also giving supporters a chance to see how he has evolved on the touchline. For Arteta, however, sentiment will take a back seat to preparation. The Arsenal manager is expected to use the August fixtures to fine-tune several tactical combinations, particularly if new signings arrive before the squad is fully assembled. Integrating fresh faces into an already well-established system will be one of the biggest priorities during pre-season, especially with Arsenal expected to challenge on multiple fronts once again. Fitness management will also play a crucial role throughout the summer. Several first-team players will return later than usual after participating in international competitions, meaning the coaching staff will carefully monitor workloads to reduce the risk of injuries before the Premier League campaign begins. Rotating minutes across the squad during pre-season friendlies will be essential to ensuring every player reaches peak condition without being overworked. The schedule also offers an important platform for Arsenal's academy prospects. In recent years, Arteta has shown a willingness to reward young players who impress during pre-season, And this summer is expected to be no different. Training sessions and friendly matches will provide talented youngsters with an opportunity to demonstrate that they are ready to contribute at senior level, either by earning a place in the first team squad or by increasing their chances of securing valuable loan moves. Meanwhile, supporters will be watching closely for signs of how Arsenal intend to evolve tactically after another season of competing for major honours. Small adjustments in formation, pressing structure, and attacking patterns are often introduced during pre-season, making these matches more significant than the results themselves. The weeks leading up to the Premier League opener could also coincide with the busiest period of Arsenal's transfer window. If additional arrivals are completed in time, fans may get their first glimpse of new signings wearing the club's colours before competitive action begins, giving Arteta valuable opportunities to accelerate their adaptation. With a balanced mix of competitive opponents, emotional storylines, and important tactical preparation, Arsenal's pre-season promises to be far more than a series of exhibition matches. It represents the foundation for what the club hopes will be another campaign capable of delivering silverware, and every training session and friendly fixture will play a part in shaping the team's readiness for the challenges that lie ahead. What Bukayo Saka did that had Arsenal fans laughing amid England's hypocritical set-piece celebrations. Set pieces suddenly seem to be everyone's favourite weapon now that Arsenal star Bukayo Saka has become one of England's biggest creative forces at the World Cup. England booked their place in the World Cup round of 32 as group winners after defeating Panama. It wasn't the most convincing performance from the Three Lions, but they got the job done when it mattered most. Goals from Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane secured England's victory and set up a round of 32 clash against the Democratic Republic of Congo on Wednesday. Thomas Tuchel had to wait until the second half to celebrate England's breakthrough, and fittingly, it came from yet another set piece. Just as Kane had scored from a Declan Rice delivery against Croatia, this time it was Bellingham who capitalised on a perfectly delivered corner from Bukayo Saka. The Arsenal winger whipped an inviting ball into the box, allowing the Real Madrid midfielder to meet it with a brilliant volley that finally broke the deadlock. For Arsenal supporters, there was a sense of déjà vu. Throughout the Gunners' Premier League title-winning campaign, Saka and Rice regularly shared corner-taking duties, creating countless dangerous moments. Yet instead of praise, Arsenal's approach was often criticised. Many claimed the club relied too heavily on set pieces, arguing that it made their football predictable, repetitive, and less entertaining. Now, however, the narrative has completely changed. Everyone suddenly seems to love set pieces when they're winning matches for England. The irony hasn't gone unnoticed, and Declan Rice couldn't resist pointing it out when speaking to BBC Sport. Everyone loves them now, don't they?